Hey you guys, it's your girl Catherine Danielle and I'm back again with another video. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're not new here, then welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be discussing how I got my first job offer in labor and delivery as a new grad with no experience. So if you would like to see more of this video, then continue watching. Okay, so for me, I took my NCLEX in February. So I think I took it February 10th. I took it February 10th. I passed, and today is March 13th, I think. So within a month, I got my first job offer, and then I'm gonna go into more details of how I did that. So I didn't have the typical experience of being that student that was studying for NCLEX in the last semester, getting my recommendation letters all together in the last semester. And moving forward, I would definitely advise any nursing students who are out there, if you're like in your second to last or even your last semester, start getting your references and your recommendations letters together. That way after graduation you're not scrambling around asking professors for this, asking professors for that. So I would definitely advise that. But that's the route, that's the way that I did it. I started asking for recommendations kind of late, but by the grace of God, like, I got them. Nothing is impossible for God. So like, first and foremost, I want to give him the praise and the thanks, because without him this would have not been possible. So I got my recommendation letters. Depending on where you are applying, they want like recommendation letters from your previous employers as well. So I got a recommendation from my job, which I was working as an LPN while I was in school, so I got one from there. I got one from my clinical instructor, and like I have personal references. So another tip I would give you guys is definitely also get your recommendation letters from like your clinical instructors instead of theory, because in clinicals, that's where you are showing skill, that's where you're doing the vital signs, making care plans, and you're actually getting experience with like patient interaction and patient care. So I pretty much did that, and after I did that, for me it kind of was a little hard, because I was like struggling with, did I want to do the residency program or if I didn't want to. I did not start applying right away because I didn't necessarily know which hospital I wanted to work in or which hospital I wanted to do the residency program in. So it took me like a little while to figure out where I wanted to work. But then I just started applying everywhere, like in my state, in my city. Not really my city, like those neighboring cities, but like close proximity. So I started applying for jobs, and I also was practicing like preparing for an interview. If you guys want another in-depth video of like the questions that I was asked and how I answered them, just leave a comment down below in the description box and I would definitely film that video for you. But I definitely prepared for my interview. I was watching videos on how I should answer questions, and just how to have conversation flow. I didn't lie about anything, but I made it into a conversation instead of being like short, like, why should we hire you, instead of like, yes, I'm a hard working dependable worker. I actually went in and I was just like, I'm a hard worker. Then I gave like a situation where I demonstrated that skill or that characteristic, or I'm a team player, and then like I went into depth and I gave a scenario of where I was a team player. So that's kind of like what I did in my interview. And then after that, the typical, I sent my thank you letter, and then that was on Friday I interviewed, and then the following Monday I literally got a call from the recruiter telling me that I was offered my first job in labor and delivery. So for me, that was so exciting, because as a new grad, it is definitely hard to get into certain specialties, as far as like L&D or like mother baby. Sometimes the ICU may be hard. It's not impossible, I'm not saying it is impossible. However, like labor and delivery is a specialty where nurses tend to stay, they tend to retire in. So by the grace of God, like I got my dream job as a new grad, because that is definitely what I wanted. I was like kind of scared that I was not going to be able to get a labor and delivery position right away, but that's what I ended up getting, and like I am so thankful, I'm so grateful. I would definitely advise you guys to definitely study and try to figure out how to answer interview questions, because I know there's some people who are not really good interviewees. So like I said, I would definitely drop that video if you guys want that. And then another tip I would give is definitely while you're interviewing, you want to also get to know the interviewer. You want to get to know the interviewer, that way when you're sending your thank you letter, you can just mention like something that you guys may have discussed during the interview, just to show that you're a person that knows how to hold a conversation and actually cares about getting the position. It's not to say like you're buttering anyone up, like by all means, if you really just, if that doesn't work for you, then don't do it. These are just tips that I would recommend because it is what worked for me. But like I pretty much was applying everywhere, and I was applying to positions that were residency and also weren't a residency, without a residency program. So when I say that, I mean like I was applying like I was a regular nurse, like an experienced nurse, like a nurse just looking to probably switch specialties or something like that. So that is what I did. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm gonna hear back from the hospital or the recruiters, but I was just like, I'm gonna take that chance. So that is what I did. I was just applying to like a bunch of positions, night shift, day shift, like it did not matter. Like I was just applying to different hospitals. I will also recommend that you want to apply to a hospital that will be good for you. Like everywhere has their pros and cons. I'm not gonna say anywhere is perfect. However, you want to work somewhere that probably they know how, like the management and organization knows how to take care of their staff, whether that's doing incentive pay or whether that's time off, whether that's having proper equipment at all times, whether that's being adequately staffed, whether that's being a diverse community. Like you definitely want to take those things into consideration when you're applying for hospitals. Another thing I would definitely recommend is to research the hospital. So in my interview, while I was talking, they definitely asked, why should we hire you, or why do you want to work here? I did some research, and like one of the things I particularly liked about the hospital where I was offered my position was that it was a teaching hospital. So I know that the organization is focused on teaching the next generation of healthcare professionals, and for me that's super big because I love learning. Especially in healthcare, things are changing all the time, and like I needed somewhere that loved teaching. I needed somewhere that loved teaching. I don't really like to be part of organizations that don't like to teach students. And I've kind of experienced that in clinicals where I've been kind of paired with nurses that kind of don't have that teaching attitude, and I kind of just don't like that. I like to learn. So that's something that stuck out to me, so I mentioned that in the interview, so like the person also knows that you really want to work here, like you're interested in working here, and like this is why you should be hired. You don't just go in the interview and just answer things vaguely and like, hey, I'm here just for the money, my mom made me do nursing. Like you definitely don't want to walk in there like that. But I don't want to go too in depth in this video about that because this is about me getting my job offer. I have so much other videos that I have coming. I would definitely do, like, I haven't started yet. I'm going to start in about 2 weeks, and I'll definitely be filming for you guys like a little update, how I like it, how's orientation, how it is being on the floor. I'm definitely excited about that. I cannot wait to I got a hair that's bothering me. I definitely can't wait to get on the unit, start doing things and learning things. So just a little recap of how I got my position as an L&D nurse, I rounded up all my recommendation letters, professional and personal, and also from my job. I started applying everywhere, whether it included residency or not. I researched the hospital, hospitals that I wanted to apply for, and I definitely prepared for my interview. And I answered questions, I did trial runs, and I interviewed in a conversational style. Instead of being like vague or just answering questions, I conversed with the interviewer. And I definitely prayed about it, and I had faith that I got the job. After the interview, before the interview, during the interview, like, you definitely want to believe that you kind of already have the position, because it's like what you believe is what happens. Like, you believe what you think about yourself. So for me, I definitely was like, I got this job. I practice, I prepare. You don't want to party the day before your interview. You definitely want to have a good night rest. You want to be dressed appropriately, and you want to come in looking clean, makeup not too much, and just prepared. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.